Welcome back to Transdemic, the podcast about everything trans, every single week with me and my co-host, Bentley, who is alive and well after top surgery, and we'll talk all about that experience here. If you didn't catch last week's episode, go back and listen to that first, because this is really part two. Last episode was all about the hypothetical and what ifs of this impending top surgery, and this week we get all the lowdown of what happened and how the healing process is going, and you can hear that right now on the Transdemic podcast. Please keep subscribing, sharing, send in your questions. We love to have discussions. We'll keep having guests come in and out, but for now, let's get to Bentley. I don't know, right about now. How's everything going?
Good. I'm just sore.
Really?
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Right.
I mean, like, why in the world would you be sore? It wasn't like you just had pretty invasive surgery or anything.
I know. It's very odd for me.
That's great. Well, do you want to just kind of share like exactly what happened? Because the last time we talked to you, we left off and it was all just hypothetical. It was just a theory, and now you know exactly how that goes. So if you want to maybe just start there, we can start there.
I lived. That's the best part. We'll start with that.
That's the best news.
Yeah. It's weird because in certain ways, I mean, it's natural to have anxiety before any surgery, I would imagine. Like, yeah. Unless you're like a sociopath or something, like you're probably gonna be nervous. You know what I mean? Yeah. But so I went to my pre-op appointment, and I was so beyond. So like the pre-op appointment was at different. That's at like the clinic, and then the actual surgery is at like a real surgery center, like in a hospital. So I was at the pre-op appointment, and my surgeon was just like drawing on my chest, and I was like standing up, and she's like drawing on my chest. And just from that, I started like seeing black in my eyes, and I took off my glasses, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is fucked up. And then I was like about to pass out. So I had to be like, hey, I'm going to pass out. I need to sit down. Like from her like drawing lines on my chest. So like, that's how anxious I was. So everybody gets it. So, which is weird. I've never had that feeling before, but my vision slowly was getting more blurry and blurry, and then it was almost black, and then I was like, I'm gonna pass out, and I like did the thing where you like check your knees, and so if your knees are locked, I was like, my knees aren't locked, I'm breathing, whatever. So I just had to sit down, and that was totally awkward and whatever. But like, anxiety is something like a lot of people don't take it seriously. Luckily, doctors do, but like, it's not something I could have controlled. I went through all the steps like my therapist tells me to do and stuff, and I never had something like that happen before. It was creepy.
Yeah, it's like maybe it's like just a response, especially in that situation, like a response to like there's physical trauma, even if it's done like right, maybe it's just a response to like your body kind of readying itself for that, and then you just get overwhelmed with all these endorphins or whatever.
Yeah, your body's like, fuck this, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like that's, I mean, and plus, whether you're anxious, whether it was anxiety or anybody without anxiety, I mean, you're talking about something that is like this lifelong, in hindsight, especially kind of like thing that you're coming to terms with and like correcting in a way, quote unquote. Like, and that's, how can anybody not like be like massively affected by that?
Yeah, exactly. And like, there was so much excitement, but also I've never had surgery. I never even had my wisdom teeth taken out because they never came in to get taken out. So like, I've never had any surgery where I went under. So the anxiety of not knowing, and the only thing I really knew about anesthesia was from like some fucked up like 2020 episode I saw when I was like 10, where people
that's never good.
Yeah, right. They're like, I was awake during surgery and like felt everything and like trapped in your body. So like my first experience as like a 10-year-old was like seeing people talk terribly about surgery. So like that kind of shit like sticks with you no matter what, unfortunately. Yeah. So then she finished like drawing on me. I went to get my meds because I had to get like antibiotics and painkillers and stuff. and they sent it to this Walgreens, and I went in there and I have insurance, but they apparently at that Walgreens they don't accept my insurance. So like this is like a couple hours before surgery too. So I'm like, okay. So I was like, can I just pay cash then? And he's like, no, you can't buy painkillers with cash. And I was like, but like I was also prescribed antibiotics and anti-nausea. So I was like, clearly I'm not a druggie, whatever. They weren't even like that strong. They were Percocet, but like not like I didn't even get high from them when I did take them. I haven't been taking them for a few days, but anyway, so they wouldn't sell them to me. So then I'm like calling the surgeon center, and I'm like sound like a druggie because I'm like they won't give them to me. And then the lady was like, I'll call a CVS because I normally get my like testosterone at CVS, but she accidentally called me. So she like she thought she was calling Walgreens to like make sure I didn't get the prescription, but she called me on accident. So that was really awkward. And then anyway, so I got him at CVS and it was fine. And it just doesn't make any sense why that happened, but it was just like added stress right before this big event. So then I get to the surgery center and everyone was really nice and you have to fill out all this paperwork and then they like ask you if you have a will and all this shit. And then she's like, not that you're going to need it, hopefully, but like we can't guarantee that because they can't be like, you're going to live, you know, even though the chances of dying from like anesthesia itself is like 1 in a million or something. It's like super low, but she was like, not that we hope you need it, but do you have one? It was weird, but I went to the Greenbaum Surgery Center in Scottsdale and I had Dr. Lay as my surgeon, and everyone at that surgery center took very good care of me. And basically I like sat in this bed and they put like the IV in and all that stuff. And I'm making a vlog. I'm almost done with it. I'm just waiting. I'm trying to get like the healing process in the vlog too, so that's why it's not out yet. But they put like these weird like bionic things on your legs now instead of compression socks. They're like these things that connect to your leg, and then when you're like passed out, they like pump air into them so that your legs move. They
Crazy.
Like, physically move and stuff. I thought that was wild. But
that is wild.
Yeah. So anyways, it wasn't like as bad as I thought. And then I met the anesthesiologist and I was like, yo, I'm really nervous. And he was like, do you have any questions? And I kind of asked, like, what if I'm allergic to something, whatever, and he's like, I would know if you were allergic to it, and he would fix it and whatever. And then before you know it, the surgeon came over and, like, signed the last paper, and they were wheeling me away, and the anesthesiologist dude, like, put this giant vial of, I'm guessing, like, benzos in my arm, and they rolled me down the hall, and by the time I got to the OR, I was like, let's do this. Like, it was... like there was not a care, not a worry at all. And then they put me on the operating table and it was like metal, but then like blue jelly stuff.
Oof.
Table. And I remember laying there and they were like, there's like 8 or 9 people in there and everyone's just doing their own thing and it's all crazy. And there was like music blasting and I can't remember what song, which really pisses me off because I wanted to like remember that, but there was like music that was blasting really loud. And the last thing I remember is like the nurse. Yeah, right. They're doing their job, like jamming. But so last thing I remember is I'm laying there, and some nurse was like, "Are you comfortable?" And then I like woke up. That was it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't remember counting down or anything.
That is nuts.
Yeah,
that part seems kind of like euphoric almost. That last part before you go under.
Yeah, it was really weird. It was almost like I was in a dream state because of whatever like drugs they put in. It was strange. It was really weird.
Sounds weird. You did a good job describing it because I was just thinking about all of that. Like that's kind of nice though to know. I guess there's some, with all the anxiety, at least there's going to be some moments where that'll be kind of cool. I guess kind of interesting. Yeah,
it was definitely a really interesting thing, and now I kind of. Like, I validate my anxiety, but I also feel like I wish I wouldn't have wasted the last month, like, dying inside about how anxious I was. Yeah, that's how it always goes. There's nothing. But maybe, next, if there's any other things you need to get done or anything, like, maybe it'll be easier. Yeah, at least for the anesthesia. And, like, this anesthesiologist was great. I wasn't in a weird, like, Kalen filmed me after he picked me up and stuff. Like, I was in the, like, recovery room for an hour, and then Caitlin picked me up, and I wasn't loopy or anything, so I didn't even get any like good footage. But he must have just like I remember waking up. I wasn't confused. I was like tired, so I kept like dozing off, and the lady was like, "Are you good?" And I was just like really nauseous, but I wasn't confused or anything. And then I went home and slept on the recliner, and now I'm here.
How many days has it been? 6, 5, 6?
6. I just got my drains out today.
Oh yeah, how'd that go? What was that process?
Oh my gosh. Well, so you'll see in my vlog. I'll send you a picture too.
Okay.
The drains were like in my armpit. So like my incision is under my chest, and they like put my nipple graft on, and then the drain is through my armpit, not connected to the incision at all, which is nice because then the incision should technically like heal better. But so for the last week, I couldn't put my arms down because there's drains like coming out of my armpits, and
Awesome.
so I went in today and they took off. There's like these little bolster things on your nipples, so they took those off. My nipples look really gnarly right now. They're healing well, but they still look like they're in the zombie, like disgusting looking phase.
Oh gosh.
But, yeah, they look really, really gross. But the nurse said that they're healing. They look how they're supposed to, so that's good.
Good.
And then the drains, they were basically like stitched in. So she cut the stitches off and like pulled it out, and you can kind of just like feel it coming out of your chest, like under your skin.
That is so weird.
Yeah, it hurt. That was the worst part, to be honest. Like the incisions and stuff stopped hurting after like 3 days. And now I've just been taking CBD. I stopped Tylenol even.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Is CBD helping you out?
Yeah, it's been helping a lot, actually. And I think, like, in theory, it can help with the healing process, too, because of the whatever science behind it. But
fucking science.
Yeah, so I've just been doing CBD. But yeah, the worst part was the drains. My drains are the only thing that hurt for the last, like, 3 days. So, obviously, unless I move or, like, touch it, but... It just like existing, it doesn't hurt now.
So what's the next step now?
I have to wash or not wash. I have like this antibiotic stuff I have to put on my nipples twice a day and keep them all nice and wet. And then I'm waiting for there's like tape on my incisions. I'll send you pictures too because it's hard to explain this if you don't.
Yeah,
like, you'll see it in my vlog too. But there's like tape on my incisions, and that's supposed to fall off in 2 weeks. And then I start putting the same antibiotic shit on there for a week, and then it's just scar treatment after that. So after a week of the stuff, then I have to start doing the silicone scar treatment to try and get the best scar possible. But the nipples are the main thing right now. I just have to baby them because they can fall off.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a sensitive thing.
Seriously, and I really want to get them pierced. So
yeah, you really got to be careful.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't pierce nothing. It falls off.
I know, that'd be tragic. But yeah, she even said I could get them pierced in 3 months or something. So hopefully they heal up. And then I guess the worst part, it's not bad, but the only like thing looking forward to after the cleaning and everything is that I have to wear like a binder 23 hours a day for the next month.
Oh yeah, I remember you mentioned something like that.
Yeah. So technically 3 more weeks because I've had it on, but that's like the worst part, but it's really not even that bad. It's looser than the binder I was wearing before.
That's crazy. So are you able to, is it feel any weird different yet? Are you able to like feel like the chest area yet? Or is it still like too distracting to like kind of tell a difference?
I touched it a bit like with my hands, but the way my chest feels is it's still numb and like sore in a weird way that kind of makes me queasy because it feels there's nothing I can explain it to. It's
interesting.
Yeah, it's like I don't even know how to explain it because it's like numb, but you can feel it.
Yeah,
but it's like creepy. But every day it's a little better.
That sounds creepy.
Yeah, the first day I touched it, it's a lot better now. The first day I touched it, I almost puked because it was like a weird feel, like just because of how it felt.
Oh,
yeah.
And is it like, I know we'll see video obviously, and we'll point hopefully this podcast to that video if we can remember to do that. But
yeah,
like, does it look wild at this point now that you have the drains out and all that? Is it like, is there bruising and all that stuff?
I was actually shocked there was no bruising at all.
Crazy.
Yeah, my surgeon did a really good job. I don't know what the different. I know some people get liposuction also, and I didn't because I didn't need it. So like some people get like the sides lipoed and everything.
Yeah.
So I think that might be why. But there was no bruising. There was like a little blood seeping out of like the tape on one of the incisions, but other than that, like it looks like normal skin.
Epic. That's awesome. You'll probably heal really well then.
Yeah, I really hope so because I really want to get it like nice and healed and get the scars good, and then I want to tattoo my cat on my chest.
That's awesome. Well, I mean that is some pretty. I mean that pretty much covers like top surgery for people that are listening. That might. I mean that gives like really good insight. I think over the last couple of weeks of the reality of what that is.
And if you check out my vlog, I show like me cleaning everything and like the drains and everything, but it's definitely for anybody that's getting it, it is a lot easier than I thought, the whole thing.
And it's a lot of stuff that you wish you could have seen before, right? You're creating content to fill kind of like or void. I mean, I'm sure people do it, but you're kind of making content to add more documentation for people to be inspired to go out and do this, right?
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of top surgery vlogs, and there's a lot of great ones out there, but I think what a lot of people have missed, and it might be because they're not comfortable, but a lot of people have missed the actual like taking care of the incisions and like the drains and stuff like that, and they do it more of like glamorizing.
Yeah.
Okay, but like it's not right now, it's not glamorous. Like I am so happy and I don't regret it for like a second, and I can't wait until it heals, but like right now it's gross, it hurts. It's like I can't lift anything over 10 pounds for another 4 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of downs, but I mean it's all worth it. But I just want to put that all in the vlog so people don't just think it's like, oh, you get surgery and the next day you're like good to go.
Just walking around buying groceries.
Right? Yeah, there's none of that going on. But it's been a good week so far. I'm finally starting to like feel like a person now that I got the drains out because they were so painful
while they were in, like even before you got them out.
Yeah, the whole like it just like right under your armpit, so you can't like all week I had to keep my arms up, and anytime I accidentally put my arms down, it's like a tube like coming out of your armpit, so it was just like chafing, and the skin around it was red. And like it was just like a week worth of like chafing on a thing that doesn't belong in your body.
So gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it though. I mean, like you said, it's I like the explicit. It's not even explicit, but like the honesty and the fact that you're so transparent with it and that we can just discuss it. I think it is valuable to have this kind of. You don't get to hear it often, and if you do, they omit, like you said, like a lot of like the reality of it.
Yeah, and I would do it a million times again. I'm not like like I'm not complaining. I just want people to know like this is what it is, I guess.
That's awesome. Well, it's almost done. It's almost done then. I mean, a few more weeks and it'll probably be, the point where it is kind of glamorous, hopefully. And you get to just enjoy and kind of, then you get to do the whole exciting part down the line where you get the drum.
Yes, I know. I can't wait.
Are you worried that you're going to be out of practice?
I'm going to start this week with like some little thing, because I can't lift over 10 pounds. So there's still some little things I can do.
Can you like feet things, right? Like can't you do your little the drum shit? What is it called? The kick?
Kick and hi-hat. And then I've actually for like a couple months I've been practicing drumming with my hands at my side or my arms at my side. So I'm gonna try and like be able to hopefully in like a week or two, I'm gonna see if we can have like an easy practice. I've been practicing for months like with my arms down at my side.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because you never know when you're going to have to utilize that down the line.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was a good skill. I needed to learn it anyways. So, because normally I'm flailing all around. So, good practice.
So now that that's out of the way, what the hell are we going to talk about on this podcast now that we got that out of the way?
Right. I guess we're going to have to find some more transphobic people to bitch about.
I don't think that's very hard to do.
Right. I know.
Yeah, it hasn't been. I guess just to kind of take it to that point, and we'll call this like the long line to the end of the show. We won't talk too much longer, but just if you have you been? Is there anything you've been able to even keep up with? I mean, I know you're like at home doing nothing, so I'm sure maybe you've read up on anything that's happened in the trans world over the last couple days.
Not this week. I've basically been a zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
You've been sheltered from the
Very sheltered. Yeah, I've been like getting enough energy to take a little video because otherwise I'm gonna regret it. And then I basically either sleep or watch TV and like lay there and go, ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah,
just roll around. And you got Kalen there, kind of just waiting on you hand and foot.
Yeah, he's been doing a great job actually. Like now he's at the point where if my water is empty or something, he doesn't even ask. He just fills it.
That's hilarious.
I didn't even read my post-op papers or anything or like my meds. I was like, please, was so out of it. I was like, please just read what meds do I need, like when, and just give them to me. Like, it was like mentally drained. There was a point where I was like, I don't have the energy to do like any of that. I need to like just have my eyes closed, but like not necessarily sleeping. But I was like, please just give me whatever I need. Like,
yeah, I mean, you just had a crazy ass surgery. Makes sense.
He's been doing great.
That's awesome. That is, I mean, I don't even want to even talk too much about stuff going on because I mean, you don't need this crazy trans shit in your life. These now it's like, yeah, I got all this done. Now let's deal with the reality of what I did.
I mutilated my body. Right.
So people can like, I mean, do you think that'll be, I guess this is a good point, a good intersection. Do you think now, you have that done? Like, is there always a battle when we do things to like help ourselves out and to feel better? Like between like, okay, now we feel better internally. Does that make, if people misgender you in public, worse, do you think? Or is it the same?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I always wondered. Like, like when you start getting things done, it feels like you would expect that even psychologically or subconsciously to like help, that aspect. And I wonder like if it continues to happen, if that just feels like, well, what the fuck?
Well, I'll let you know.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll happen. I still like, because I started on such a low dose of tea at the beginning of the year so that my like singing or my screaming vocals and stuff, I'm like tapering up on tea so that my vocals don't get fucked completely.
Yeah.
So I'm still not at the dose I'm supposed to be at, which I'm hopefully going to be at in September at my appointment. But so I still don't pass all the time. So I'll let you know how that goes. But I think that might be weird because it's like most of my insecurity was my chest. So it's like it's not there anymore.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I mean, like we've talked about, like it's such a relief just to have that. And that's what I'm wondering. Like, once you've gotten things figured out like on your end, I wonder if it helps or alleviates some of that, because I mean, it should always be like fuck everyone else, but there's things that are hard to get over and things that we all struggle with.
Yeah, and depending on the day, like one day it could bug me and the next day it like might not.
Yeah, exactly. It's always the worst when shitty things happen in the morning. It's like, because at least by the afternoon you're like, okay, whatever, but right when you start your day, that's the worst.
Oh, it's terrible.
Horrible.
I try not to read the news in the morning.
That's a good idea. I mean, shit, you'll ruin your whole day right away.
It'll ruin my whole day. Like if I'm like on the toilet or something in the morning and I read an article and then it's just like it's all downhill from there. So I try not to do that.
Well, I guess I'm trying to think of some other topics, because I didn't have any questions come in, but I didn't really ask questions this week.
Yeah, we'll have to have people, if they have a question, please let us know.
Yeah, if sharing and all that is great too, liking the podcast, all that stuff. But if we can get more conversation, we do have some guests coming up, because I've been talking to people. I don't know if you've talked to people on your end, but I know we have some different people that are going to be coming in and out. So hopefully that'll give us enough content to keep pushing everything through. Yeah,
I know so many trans people, it's weird because some people say they don't know any, and I know personally over 20, but I met them all like naturally. Not from like an online group or something. Yeah. So like the thought that some people say they've never met a trans person, that like blows my mind because I've never tried to meet one.
And yet here we are.
Yeah, right.
I think, I think it's also the at least for me, a large portion of that when I meet people like that is because of the art scene or music scene.
Yeah, that definitely helps for sure.
Yeah, and there's so many people that don't participate in it. It's funny, like we surround ourselves with people that in this reality where we think people know all these like I don't know, like are more in line with our reality. And like we're really a minority, even as artists and musicians, and like the real world. There's a huge divide between us and like your family.
Oh my god, yeah. Sometimes I think about that and I start thinking about space and like start freaking out.
Yeah.
Just dirt. It gets real deep real fast because it's like how the fuck like I mainly I think about people that are just living their normal like cookie cutter life that was like planned for them, and that like freaks me out.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing because sometimes I go down that well as well, and I'm like, like are they happier and better off because like they don't have to deal with a bunch of shit, like, and they have like a predictable life usually, but it's just like they became the person that they were supposed to have been since like they're in high school or middle school, and that's kind of weird to me. It's
really weird and creepy, and like especially my brother is 10 years younger than me, so I was like part of the moms club. Like I would go with my brother when he was a baby to like the club shit, and like a lot of them are just like pilled out and
oh no,
like not. I think it's like false happiness. At least from my experience, there was always affairs going on, and it was like a soap opera.
I mean, you got to keep it interesting if you got nothing else to put it out into. I mean, I can't relate. The only way that I see that kind of stuff is when, obviously it's probably the same for you. If you accidentally end up at a family function or you're like I work with different families, but I'm not really, I guess a lot of families I work with are just, atypical as well. So maybe, I don't know, I just try to stay away from it. But yeah, if like you go to gatherings or family things usually, and you're reminded of like the reality that's, we're in a minority. Like we're weirdos.
Like very small. It's
yeah.
It's really small.
It's weird, right? Like until you realize like, oh yeah, most people aren't like really into like weird shit and like aware of what's going on and living their lives authentically.
Yeah, it's sad. I even have friends that are like in my friend group and kind of do the same stuff I do, but they're not being true to themselves, and that really bums me out that for whatever reason they're not able to do that.
Yeah, or maybe it's us. Maybe we're the ones, because I'm also not sitting here saying that, that our way is, right, or that we're woke or anyway. So I always think like that too. I'm always like, well, maybe we're the weirdos. Maybe we have it wrong.
Yeah, I know, because there's so many people where they're like, I would never do that, or like, I want to do that, but I wouldn't. Yeah, and it's like, is anybody really right though? Like everybody could be just like it could be all neutral. Like like how you think about like who is right, like besides to yourself, because is there someone like judging everybody, like one person? That would be the only way to like have it be voted on.
Yeah, to have it have like some like linear like sense to it, I guess. But
yeah, right.
At the same time, like I mean, what I really base a lot of that on is like I just feel like a lot of people just end up wasting their time. I feel like people should contribute more, and not just art, but like to life. Like instead of taking, like we take a lot as human beings, and I just don't think enough people give back. Like I couldn't get through a day, and like if I didn't have something creative to put out into an outlet, whether it's this podcast, whether it's like the cooking stuff, whether it's the music, or sharing pictures on Instagram, whatever it is. Like I couldn't imagine. I don't know how people do it when they're just like working for somebody, making a bunch of money for somebody, barely making money. Like I don't get the point of that sort of existence. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, same here. I need to be painting or making music or drumming or
calling your own shots.
Yeah, exactly. Making my YouTube, like the reason I started my YouTube channel is because we can't tour right now. So it's like I just need things to do. I totally feel you.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck else are we gonna do? Plus, I mean, I could never. I've worked for myself for so long at this point that I don't. It'd be really hard for me to like work with like a boss and like fucking employees. That'd be real weird.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's why I feel so lucky at the Rhythm Room, because I'm pretty much like, I mean, I book half of the shows there
Yeah.
and do the website and stuff. So like, I have a boss, but like he respects me, and it's not like a normal relationship thing, because I would have a very hard time doing like corporate America.
Oh, and wouldn't we all? And right there, where I ended that conversation, just rolls into like this another half an hour of existential crisis that we have both broke down and talked about, which I'll spare you here. Maybe one day, maybe on a Patreon, some old footage can be recovered of just our boring everyday conversations. I hope everyone out there is enjoying themselves as trans people and trying to stay safe. I hope people that may be interested in having surgery or whatever it is, affirming surgery or name changes or whatever it is, that hearing these experiences can help just a little bit, give you an insight of the reality of that, and let you know that you are not alone at all in how you feel. Like just today, right now, for example, dysphoria, voice dysphoria. I'm tired. My voice is always low, but it's lower when I'm tired. Oof, brutal. But the good thing is we are all in control of our mindsets, mind states. And trust me, as deep as it is as feminine as it is. I just have to remember that. Fuck the world. Fuck what they tell you. We'll see you next week here on the Transdemic Podcast.